I think that's the trick. Or the lie. It's like I'm doing fine. Oh, I make a mistake. Now I'm incomplete, and there's a problem. When
Mm-hmm.
really the incomplete was there the whole time.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Epic Every Day. We're so glad that you're here with us. I'm Liz Frerichs, and this is my husband, Evan.
Hola, happy Friday.
He's being ridiculous right now.
Well, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Get loose.
Okay. Um, as you guys know, this week we've been talking about the CSCs and kind of the basics of our basics. I'm actually really excited because today we are going to talk about the last CSC. And since they kind of build on each other, this is the pinnacle. So the
Yes.
CSCs are being calm, surrendered, centered, connected, and complete. And today we're talking about being complete, which when I say complete, what I mean is being fully yourself, engaging every part of yourself versus compartmentalized or fragmented, and then engaging with everything that's going on in your life
Yeah,
with a
easy as
clear
pie, right?
perspective. Right.
Why do you? Why don't we just do that automatically?
Why would we do that
Yeah,
automatically? I mean, when you think about it, everybody's compartmentalized to some degree. I mean, hopefully, we want to be people who are authentic and whose work self is the same as our church self, is the same as our home self. But to a degree, I mean, different relationships bring out different aspects of your personality. It really comes back to that being centered, like knowing who you are and then being able to live out of all of that versus just one piece of yourself or another piece, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. And it's hard, right? It
Well,
takes
yeah.
intentionality and work. I think you mentioned that. Yeah, I was. The very idea that it's on this list implies that our default is incompleteness
Yeah.
and not. I mean, and that's part of the beauty of the, and it's not something we can attain on our own. So that's the beauty of God's transcendence and His external perspective and wisdom is that He can provide the right view and
Right.
the complete view of the world and reality and the way things are.
Yeah. Yeah. By definition, with our limited perspective, we really can't engage with everything that's going on around us. And I'm not saying that we need to engage with every single blessed thing that exists around us because that would be impossible.
Sure.
But the things that our lives touch, being able to bring our full selves to bear on each of those situations.
Yeah. And the more complete we are, the more responsive and proactive we'll be. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
there'll be a filter there. Like if we're not complete, we might think we have to respond to 100 stimuli a second just from walking down the street or something, or
Right.
who knows?
Right. Yeah. If you know what's really important to you, you can focus on the areas that are important.
Yeah,
Being intentional, which I agree, that's a huge part of complete, is being intentional about what you're doing. All of the CSCs require intentionality, but
yeah, and they're so profound to us. I mean, at this point in our life, we're in the middle of our life, and it's this. It's the new everyday kind of adventure thing that's like, well, how can we do that, and how do we work this in? Like it's, I don't know. When
right.
it keeps going, the adventure goes on, and the challenge,
Yeah.
and that's a full life.
Yeah, definitely.
What about, so if we don't start out complete, what are some of the ways that we try to become complete? Some of the pitfalls of trying to become complete on our own.
Well, I mean, I think compartmentalization is one. Just even recognizing the need to be complete. Sometimes we don't even get there.
Oh, sure.
So you have to start with, am I complete? Why am I not complete? And try to figure out what's underlying that. Is it a fear based thing? We talked about Brene Brown yesterday, and I love her TED Talk on vulnerability and how vulnerability is the pathway to all these different amazing things. So, joy and love and creativity, she talks about all that. And I think because we're afraid of being vulnerable, we compartmentalize, you
Oh
know?
yeah, a defense mechanism.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
So
figuring out why you're compartmentalized, why you're not complete, that's kind of whatever your
yeah,
underlying, because it's different for everybody
that's
what
like
their underlying thing
oh
is.
yeah, but that's like the first barrier for
Right,
realizing that default is not complete.
right.
But how do you get to that? I mean, how do you?
Well,
It's
asking the
experiential.
Lord, I
Oh
mean,
sure.
I think that's a huge part of it, at least in my life, consistently. It's been saying, okay, God, I don't know my own heart. I need you to show me my own heart because I have this wonky perspective on my own heart and I don't know how to view it correctly, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I think part of it is letting the things in life that could teach you something actually teach you something instead
Yeah,
of just cranking through them and you know hanging on to that false sense of complete just because you're like good enough, complete enough. You know,
yeah,
I'm. I don't know when that would hit. I mean, I don't. I don't know. For me, I guess it was. Well, there's always different little things along the way. Different little. A failure. It's a great opportunity to start assessing what's going on and figure out if what went wrong.
right.
What can I do about it, if anything? But or a milestone, graduating from high school, dropping out of college, or getting married, or
Or
having a
finishing
child.
college.
Yeah, finishing college, graduating eighth grade, whatever. Something. There's times built in to be like, okay, let's take a little inventory here. What's going
Right.
on? Are we on the right track? Do we need to make some adjustments here? This thing in our Sunday school class, I keep thinking about this phrase. I think it came out. I wish I can remember the book, but the book's called the three colors of ministry, I think, and it's about spiritual gifts. But anyways, mistakes allowed is like in bold letters. It's like so. Yeah, so there's a failure, a mistake of some kind, but now what? It's not.
Right.
So
Right. It's what you do with your mistakes because
yeah,
everybody's going to make mistakes.
that's right.
So,
And mistakes don't make us incomplete. Like I think that's the trick. Or the lie. It's like I'm doing fine. Oh, I make a mistake. Now I'm incomplete, and there's a problem. When really the incomplete was there the whole time.
yeah, it just highlights it.
Yeah, and it's an opportunity. Some of the things I thought of were addictions. That's a way to fill the void. If that's more of a way to hide from even the problem. It's like
Right.
there's something wrong. Don't really want to figure out what it is, so I'm just gonna hide out here in
Numbing,
a
whether
bottle.
that's, right. Yeah, whether that's addictions. I think we have so many socially acceptable addictions in our society that
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to even recognize them. Like if you're addicted to your TV show
Oh
or
yeah.
you're addicted to, eating
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Our
like,
culture is huge on entertainment and consumption of one kind or another. Food,
right. Right.
alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, I think as Christians, we're like, oh, well, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't.
Never did street drugs.
Right. Like we have this list and we don't think about the things that are outside the list that are
Yeah.
still running our lives, you know,
Yeah.
which is still contrary to what is it? Ephesians 4:30, I think, where it talks about, don't be filled by wine, but be filled with the Holy Spirit. The idea that we want to be controlled by the Holy Spirit rather than controlled by alcohol
Yeah.
or anything else. Like that's kind of my measure for is this an addiction or not? Is it controlling me? Is this preventing me from obeying the Holy Spirit in some fashion? And if it is, maybe I need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just need to change the way that I handle it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's not something you could do on your own either. I think part of this complete thing is, I want to be complete within myself, but I'm also realizing you're not complete without relationships.
Well,
And
that's why complete comes after connected.
yeah, absolutely.
Like, You really have to start that. I'm connected with the Lord. I'm connected with other people in my life. And then out of that, I'm going to work on being complete.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be messy, you know?
Right. And I love going back to your mistakes thing. You know, in Tai Chi, when you're trying to figure out where you're not complete, you don't do it on your own. You do
Oh,
it with someone else. You do an exercise. There's one that we do where we call it the following, where, you know, one person has their hand out and the other person puts their hand on top of the first person's hand.
like
And
a
then,
two-hand pancake. You're not holding hands.
yes,
I'm just trying
like,
to make the
yes,
picture.
like a pancake.
Two pancakes.
Okay, sorry. And so then you walk around and you let the person, you know, the leader moves their hand.
The hand on the bottom.
Right.
Right? And the
And
hand on top is supposed to follow.
right.
It's hard.
It's really hard. It really, when we first did that exercise, can't even remember the first time I did it now. It's probably been 6 years ago or something, but I was just, it was stunning to me to realize how much of a control freak I am. Like, I cannot follow. So it took a long time of doing that exercise before I could really just relax and not try to anticipate or,
Oh, yeah.
you know, try to control where we were going or, but to just relax. But when you're doing that exercise, part of the reason we do that exercise is to find places in your body where you're separated. Like your arm maybe is not connected to your center, you know.
Interesting.
So if instead of moving your waist, you like try to move your shoulder or take a step instead of utilizing your entire body to
Yeah.
follow.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, with that exercise, you'd think, oh, just my hand and maybe my arm are in charge of following now, but you're in this. I mean, the class is in, a workout space where it's about the size of like a racquetball. It's an old racquetball field, right?
Yeah.
So you got the whole room. Like the leader could take you anywhere in that room. So it is going to
Right.
require your whole body, and you might get turned around, or like if you're just moving your arm, you're gonna like get pretzeled up a little bit if your feet don't ever
Yes.
move.
Right. Well, and your waist too. And
Yeah.
there, I mean, but by doing those things, by being in that relationship, it shows you where you're not complete. And so
Yeah,
that's why we
that's
need the
it.
connected first. Like we need to be in connection because it is when we make those mistakes, you know, when we,
And we will.
right, we will. That's
Yeah.
making mistakes is not the problem. The problem is what do we do with the mistakes? And, you know, being able to really recognize this is an opportunity to learn. Yay!
Yeah.
So it's a very different mindset.
Yeah. And it's all the more difficult in a community making a mistake in front of people instead of just on your own.
Right.
Having to learn to relax in a group or something.
Right.
These are
Takes a
things that
lot
we
of
can.
bravery.
Yes. And it's worth it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it is so worth it to be able to grow in those ways. It's amazing. It's amazing to me, how much it transforms your life individually. Like you do these things in a group and then it affects your daily life even when you're not with anyone. So, but then what you do by yourself also helps you even more with the group. Like it's this,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's this upward spiral
Yeah.
instead of a like, what is it?
Downward.
You're in a
Oh.
downward spiral of despair.
A
You're in an
vortex of some
upward,
kind.
yes, you're in an upward spiral of growth.
Yeah. I was thinking of prosper instead of despair. Is that?
Not that I
Oh, okay.
know of.
Well, I'm
Sorry.
constantly trying to teach Liz new words. And it doesn't really work.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so any other practical advice on being complete?
I would, yeah, I don't know. Give it a shot, I would say. I mean, the community part, that's been a huge thing for me. Yeah. And I like what you're saying about, you know, interacting with some people, you learn some stuff, and then in your own personal life, you're like, oh, working it out some more, and then it's going back and forth
Right.
because we are individuals. I mean, that's created in the image of God. We are our own little trinity, our body, mind, and our spirit. So there's some independence there, but we're also we're not going to survive on our own.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And we need our brothers and sisters, and we need our Father most of all. So
Yep.
keep trying.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing Friday.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday to talk more about the CSCs.
And how they apply to all kinds of different things.
That's right.
So if you would like to get in touch with us, you can always hit us up on Facebook or on Twitter. Evan's handle is @aKindOfLying.
That's right. And Liz's is Eliz Frerichs. The Twitter for our show is EEDcast, Epic Everyday Cast.
All right. Well, we're praying for you guys. Have an awesome Friday. Work on being complete, engaging with your whole self and everything that's going on around you. The things that are a part of who you are.
That's right. And we look forward to hearing from you and talking to you soon.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay. Bye. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Get loose.
Okay.